Hi there. This video is to help you navigate through one of the major assignments for this particular class of Culture, Identity and Power, and that is your research paper. Now, the place to start is, of course, your syllabus, and I'd encourage you to scroll down to where you can see the assignments that are required for this particular class. You'll notice right off the bat that there's a final research paper, a research design document, an annotated bibliography, and a presentation. And together, combined, those make up really the sum total of the research component for this particular class. Now, it's important that you understand how this works, because the design behind it is that we want you to be able to research well. Most of you are probably going to go on to become PhD students pretty soon. And so we want you to be able to engage well in critical thinking and in critical writing, so that when you write your dissertation, you will find it easy to do because of the practice that you've been able to get in a class like this, and later on as you advance through our program, that you'll see how this will kind of get repeated in a few different ways. So it's important that you're aware that those are the expectations coming in. Now, I'd encourage you to go to the assignments page. And once you're there, you'll see that there are several different assignments that are due, obviously, and there are different components to this particular project that you'll see that are due along the way, and they've been labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now, a couple of those are ungraded, so make sure that you pay attention to what's graded and what isn't, and the ungraded components are really there to make sure that you're on the right page, to get some feedback, to see that the idea that you're wanting to test is indeed a valid idea, and things like that. So that'll probably help narrow the scope and make sure that your research project is actually answering a key question. At the end of the day, the real important component of this, of course, is going to be your final research paper itself, your final submission. And you would have done a initial research design document due on week 4, which will be basically an outline. That's all we're looking for that one. You can click on that and you can see how that'll be graded as well. And then you'll be submitting a little bit later an annotated bibliography. And that annotated bibliography is basically the sum total of the sources, maybe not all of them, but certainly a lot of the sources that you're intending to incorporate in your final research paper and presentation, so that I can get a look and the assessor can see that you're using appropriate sources and you're researching well. So that's a help for you, because once you've knocked that out, you basically have got a large portion of what you need to put together in the research paper. And then we're going to ask you to do a presentation. And that presentation is essentially a verbal video presentation of your paper. Hopefully not just read to the camera, but ultimately something that'll help shape the sort of thinking that you're putting into this particular paper. And then, as I said a little bit earlier, due in the sort of final week of class is your final research paper submission. This is when you've gotten feedback all along the way, and now you're looking at the sum total of your paper. And I encourage you each step along the way to look at the rubric, because that is a pretty clear indication of how you're going to be graded. Right? So the originality of thought, the idea that you're trying to pursue, the idea is that you would not just simply take a concept from the reading, but that you would actually take something that is birthed in an experience that you have and something that you're interested in. Of course, the reading would probably touch on that in some way, and that's more than fine. The background, that you've been able to demonstrate that you have a good understanding of the issue at hand, that it's not just something that you are using anecdotally. That you've done a good literature review, which is what your bibliography will help you to do, that you are creating a good discussion. And in your discussion, you're showing that you understand all sides of the issue. Often the problem with a lack of critical thinking in our broader world and society today is because we don't actually take the time to understand the other side. So it's important when you're writing a research paper that you show that even though you're trying to perhaps prove a particular hypothesis or idea, that you do understand the counter-argument to whatever it is that you might be proving. And of course, it should go without saying, but your grammar, your tone, your mechanics of the paper is very, very important as well. And the quality of your research. How are you using sources? You're not overly citing long sentences within a paper to try to sort of just take up some space, but that you're actually using those sources well and you're citing them well. So at the end of the day, that is how you're going to be graded in the totality of your paper. And of course, I'm there along the way to help you, to refine ideas, and I'm happy to converse with you about it as well. But I trust that you'll enjoy this project because, as I said earlier, I'm hoping that it becomes something that will ultimately help you not just in this class and in other classes in this program, but in your future as well.